morning we were ready to leave, all the equipment was already prepared, and then we found out that there was a big thunderstorm coming out from the side of the island, so we waited kind of 1 hour to see where this thunderstorm was going, and it catched exactly the spot where we were supposed to be diving. So finally we cancelled the dive for today, but we had some time to spend on the island, so we made some tour visit to the castle and a couple of fortresses that have participated to the battle, and they've been a point of the attack from the Italian army to the island.
Little bit of history of these two wrecks, a very short version of it. They are very special ships. We're going in a special place, actually, the site of a relatively big battle where like more than 50 ships crashed one against the other in a big chaotic situation, and 2 of them ended up sinking. And this, the battle has been part of the war for the Italian reunification. The ships are relevant because they represent a specific moment in naval history, which is a moment of big transition from the vessels of the 19th century, so big vessels, sailing vessels with 80, 90, 100 or more cannons, to the modern age. And these ships were right in the transition, so the transition from wood, hull and sail to iron hull and engine. And also from in the artillery, it was a moment of important transition from the guns that were loaded from the front, right, to guns loaded from the back, more precise and more powerful. So this is the first battle where all this stuff came together. And the ships had also rams, right? Is remembered also as the last battle in which part of the tactic was to intentionally ram another ship. And in fact, Red Italia sank there for having been rammed by the Austro-Hungarian Admiralty.
So we are trying to search for the fort where the Austrians tried to defend the city here of Komiža, but at least we're not finding anything, but at least the view is quite interesting. How's it? We didn't find any fortress at the end.
Fortress.
We are just
Big risk.
we are just we are stuck.
And the way down is not much better either.
The way down is worse now.
One interesting thing is that at least half of the Austro-Hungarian fleet and crews were Venetian people. So people from Venice and the area around Venice, because at the time all the Veneto, the area of Venice, was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, as well as Trieste, my city, Udine, Sisnica city, all the northeast of Italy was still under control of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Italian was the official language on board for the Austro-Hungarian fleet. Wow. Italy had 6 years at that time.
Right.
The capital was not even Rome, it was Florence, because in Rome there was still the Pope. In this specific, very short war, the Italian government felt like a pressure to obtain a victory on the field in order to gain, to have a stronger position in the table of peace. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Russians had already won the Battle of Sadowa, and so it was already granted that Italy would have had the Veneto back, but they really wanted a victory in order to sit at the table with more power and obtaining more or whatever. So they forced the admiral, and the admiral had a clear perception of the problems of his fleet, which was a fleet composed by very strong, powerful and modern ships, but without a real cohesion between crew and without clear tactics and things like that. So it was very resistant to going at sea for giving battle. But the government was super insisting to the point that threatened him to remove him if he wasn't going out. So he decided finally to take sail for the island of Lissa, trying to, with the idea of conquering the island. And the battle lasted for 3 days here. For 2 days they were trying to invade the island, and then the third without success. And the third day the Austro-Hungarian fleet showed up. Red Italia was anchored by the Austro-Hungarian admiral ship, which was the Herzer of Ferdinand Max, something like this, with the Austro-Hungarian admiral on board, which was instead a super good admiral. It's von Tegetthoff, like a sort of Nelson guy, very determined in his late 30s, young, incredible guy. Meanwhile, the Palestro got a hit on board. The commander of the Palestro, with a very wrong, not such a good idea, had decided to overload coal in order to get to maintain the faster speed that he could maintain, which was very slow, like 8 knots. But for maintaining that, he had, this is how he passed to history. So he had this big amount of coal on the main deck. And so with taking a hit of artillery, this coal catch fire. Okay, so they try for like a couple of hours to extinguish the fire, which in certain moments they seem to be successful, and other moments they were near to abandon the ship, and then the commander changed his idea, and so on and so forth. So after the end of the real battle phase, when the two groups were regrouping in formation, the fire got into the ammunition, and kaboom! Terrible explosion, everybody died.
So we can expect some damage somewhere past midships towards the stern.
Hope for maybe an intact hull in the front part of it with the bones.
Right.
Maybe worthwhile, right?
Let's dive back in history.
Yeah, cool one. As I told you, it's like more than 20 years at least that I went to dive these two wrecks. It looked like unreal when they told me, they asked me, do you want to dive the Red Italia? And I answered, are you joking? Or are you serious?
Only for 20 years.
Yeah, more.
Well, thanks to Amir for his support then.
And I couldn't believe until now.
Tomorrow the weather should be better, so we hope we will be able to dive the Palestro, and it will be our last day of the project, and so let's hope for the best.